Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdcast Dave, and today I am joined by Maddie Cullen. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's awesome to have you on the show and get to chat with you. For people that aren't aware, you did the Learn to Play D&D series over on the official Wizards of the Coast channel, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was so fun to make, so exciting. It was really, really fun.
It was very kind of like uh, very much an anomaly. I was like, when I started seeing those videos drop, because I'm like, I don't know who this person is, and they're talking about D&D. Um, and you did a fantastic job, first of all,
Thank you.
with those videos. And then I had to, and like in the videos themselves, you don't actually say who you are. So I was like, so I had to
Yeah.
do a little sleuthing to track you down. I was able to, and I was like, hey, why don't we have this person on to come talk about some Dungeons and Dragons? And I love to see new faces in the hobby and in this space. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, here I am.
So you did videos that were like 3 to 5 minutes, and as someone who has produced a lot of content, I actually know that is way harder than doing longer videos.
Oh my God. Yeah, like so some of the people I worked with hadn't played D&D and they were like, "Yeah, you'll do 3-minute long videos, right?" And I was like, "Have you seen how thick the books are that I'm trying to condense into these like little videos?" So I ended up doing them, yeah, like 3 to 5, a little bit longer, but it was so hard kind of like picking and choosing what to put in, and like I didn't want to leave anything out because it's all interesting and important, but I think we got there. We managed to kind of get everything in.
So, how did you end up getting involved with Wizards of the Coast and getting to work on the project?
Yeah, so I'm like a writer presenter in my day-to-day job. I work on the Logitech G YouTube channel, mainly about video games. But the agency I work with also works with Wizards of the Coast on Dragon Plus magazine, and they were already pitching some video ideas when I joined. And I was like, I love D&D, like I would love to get in on that. So I did, and I was just like literally right place, right time, and it was very lucky and great for me.
So, if there was ever like a next project to do for Wizards, do you what would be like a dream project for you to work on?
Oh, I don't know. Just anything.
Like for you, is it
Um,
easier to have parameters to work within, or or something more open ended?
I'd love to do something kind of like in between. Like I'd love to do just like highlighting like monsters and stuff and like how to put them in your game and kind of tips like that. Like I think things like that'd be really fun, kind of like prescriptive enough that I have something to start with and then I can kind of just go wild and see where it takes me.
Do you have a favorite monster? If you were to land that gig, what would be the first monster you would want to work on?
Oh, I don't know. I really like ghosts, which sounds really boring, but I think if you have a ghost, you're instantly like, "Oh, why are they dead? Why are they alive again? Like, what are they doing here?" Um, and I have a vendetta because every time I've used one, I have never successfully possessed someone, and I really want to do that. So,
Good to know. If I
if
ever
you
end
ever
up in one
play
of
with
your
me,
games and I see a ghost, run because you were chomping at the
yeah,
bit to possess one of your players.
yeah, that's big goal for me up there.
Yeah, we one of our weekly live chats we picked different topics and possession was one of them. And then we kind of turned those into newsletters, and that was a lot of fun to write on. Um,
Cool.
I like the idea because it's like you can do like a monster inside a monster
Oh,
when you
that's
do that.
fun.
Yeah, like if you so I guess one of the things you can do instead of trying to possess a player is have like one of the NPCs or a monster that you're using already possessed. Um,
Ooh, yeah, that's a good start.
and then I feel like you can like open it up to like fiends, celestials, even some like aberrations could
Yeah.
possibly anything that is like spirit like could definitely be possessing. Like I don't know if you've like watched like Supernatural.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's so
Yeah, where
good.
like all the angels and demons they have to possess someone to be there. So like you
Yeah.
could totally like do something like that.
Oh, that'd be so good. I'm gonna steal that. That's
Steal
yeah.
away, and probably because I've stolen it from other places as well.
Nice.
There was a product in third edition that like had a long section on possession for demonic possession, and there
Hmm.
was like different ways where they could do it, where they were like fully possessed, and basically they were just using that person, or where they were like just riding along so they could like hide in the
Mm.
person. So there's
Oh,
like
that's cool.
cool things like that.
Yeah, some options. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, doing with a demon would be fun.
Uh, so what is your day-to-day job like as a presenter?
Yeah, so I mainly work on Logitech G YouTube channel, which I said, which is about video games. So day to day, I'll probably be working on a script, writing about video games, and then maybe playing a few games if I haven't played them before, getting capture, and then doing VO or going into the studio to like talk about it to camera, maybe doing some unboxing videos, which is always fun, holding things.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, that's pretty much me day to day, the like writing or
Do you
talking
get to
about stuff.
pick? Do you get to pick which video games?
Yes, which is good. Otherwise, I'd be struggling if I haven't played everything. Yeah, usually like I come up with the ideas with a few people, and then we like yeah write about it, talk about it, play things.
So how much of that is based on like what you want to play or what is popular at the time?
Probably more on what's popular.
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd just be doing like indie games all day, every day, with like a few triple A's thrown in. Like I love finding new indie games, but yeah, a little bit of both. Sometimes I can like sneak things I want in.
Yeah. What's something you've snuck in?
Any indie game. Stardew Valley comes up in like every one of our videos. Just love a little farming game. Very fun.
Are you into like Baldur's Gate?
I haven't played it. I really wanted to get to it. We were going to do a feature on it on the channel, but it coincided in the time that I was filming the D&D video, so I was really
Yeah.
busy with that. So I didn't actually get to do it, which is really annoying. But yeah, I think I might just wait till it's fully out now. But
You were
that's
all
on my
D
radar.
and D'd out
Yeah,
that time.
yeah. I just didn't have time to do both.
So, one of the questions I ask a lot of folks when I bring them on is, during the end times here in the apocalypse, do you find yourself gaming more or less or the same?
At first, obviously, it was like less, because I was like, we can't play in person. I was like really resistant to playing online. And
Yeah.
then we picked up a few games and we are like, I just want to hang out with people. And then now I'm playing more than I've ever played. I play 3 games a week now. The third one starting actually tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. And then it's gonna be 4 because I'm gonna start running one in the next couple of weeks as well. So
What
now
is
it's a
it?
lot.
What is the game starting tomorrow?
This week I got both the Humble Woodbook and Candlekeep Mysteries, which I'm very excited about. So one or the other, or maybe both,
Yeah.
something with those.
So do you prefer DMing or playing?
I do really like DMing. I prefer playing just in the fact that I can just turn up and be like, entertain me,
Yeah.
which is always fun. But like I am a writer, I do think DMing is really fun because you get to like, you can only play one character when you're playing, but as a DM, you're like, I can throw all the 10 characters I want to play at the moment in as NPCs, which is fun.
Do you have any tips for writing your adventures?
Ooh, there's a writing. I big fan of Pinterest. I'm very like visual person, so I would just like go on Pinterest. I've typed in Humblewood and I've started a board of just like I'll see like a like cute little crow with a hat on and I'll have like 10 ideas just from that. So if I go on Pinterest and I find a few like interesting images like maps or something, then I'm like, okay, I've got a jumping off point now. So that's my big how I kind of start ideas.
You're a person after our own content director's heart.
Yeah.
Doug often goes to Pinterest for his ideas as well, or if he has an idea, looks for the images to go with it.
Yeah. It's
Um,
nice.
are you more visual?
Yeah, definitely. I like to be able to see what's happening, and I think like I obviously like come up with my own ideas in my head, but I think I'm very much like sparked if I see something. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, just see it, and I'll get excited and start jotting down like a bunch of notes of who this random crow with a hat on is, and it's very fun.
So what characters are you currently playing?
At the moment, I'm playing my favorite character I've ever played. She's called Mina. She's an artificer, and she's a shifter. So I have her with like wolf ears and a wolf tail,
Yeah.
which none of the other players have like quite asked her about yet. They're just like kind of weird, but probably fine. Yeah, she's great. She has a little chow chow, like a little metal chow chow, and
Uh-huh.
she has a gun, which I love because now I'm rolling a d12 for damage, and I'm usually like a bard or something, so I'm like, all this damage is amazing. So that's really fun.
You get the barbarian feels with that D12.
Yeah, I like always play magic users, and I was like, oh, I'm not really interested in the barbarian, and now I've got my hands on a d12. I'm like, okay, barbarian could be very fun.
A monster has been born.
Yeah, yes.
So are you playing a battlesmith?
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
I guess with the metal chow dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Had to. Yeah, I was like, if I can get a pet, I'm gonna do it.
I feel that. I'm playing a battle master currently as well. So for
Oh, nice.
I have a kangaroo.
A kangaroo. I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm playing a gnome, and I was like, I would well when I was inspired to play an artificer, and then I was like, well, what which races get a bump to intelligence,
Hmm.
and then also happen to be small because I feel like having a pet that you can ride around is much better than just having a pet.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, so Artie rides around in the pouch of the kangaroo.
That is so great. I love that.
Yeah. That's a Curse of Strahd game, and
Oh, interesting.
at one of the locations, you're able to gain a magic item that gives you control of a animated suit of armor. So I also have
Ooh.
Jeeves, the butler suit of armor, animated suit of armor as well, which is a lot
That
of
is
fun.
just such a visual, seeing all three of you like riding up to battle. I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, the animated suit of armor is slow, so usually like it shows up like a round or two later.
Behind.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
But it is definitely fun.
But,
And it actually worked out good because normally the problem with that is fixing it when it takes damage.
yeah.
But because of the defender, it has the ability to repair objects
Yeah.
for
So
hit points.
good.
So yeah. So my kangaroo Thomas is on the job.
Still going. Hasn't died yet then.
No, no, not yet. So are you guys? Is the game in Eberron?
It's not actually, no. My partner DMs and it's just in like a homebrew world. We started off in a swamp, which is where three of us lived, which was really, really fun. And now we've kind of traveled out to the world because we got kicked out of the swamp town because they didn't like us anymore and thought one of us was a witch. Yeah.
So do you prefer homebrew or playing in pre-written stuff?
I like a bit of both. I've done more homebrews. I guess that's what I know. And like it's fun to just like do whatever. I played a bit of Curse of Strahd, but I didn't make a character that really fit the setting, I think, is where I went wrong. So I was like, this is really horrible and scary. Why would I be here? um, so definitely just did that wrong. Played some stuff in Eberron, which was really, really fun. I was like, that's such like a kind of fantasy with like a little touch of sci-fi with like the trains and stuff. Like really love that.
Yeah, Arcana Punk.
Yeah, that's such a good word for it.
Yeah, the although I don't feel like with Strahd there's really a making a character for that game in the sense that
Mm,
in theory, like Ravenloft just pulls people in from wherever.
yeah.
So a lot of times, like the adventurers aren't really necessarily designed for Strahd. Like we were playing the Frozen Sick in the Wildmount book, and
Okay.
one of the players is like, "Hey, I've never played Curse of Strahd. I would really like to play that campaign." So one of the other players switched out with the DM at the end of that adventure, and like I guess we found a book or something
Mm.
in that adventure, and then someone opened it, and like the mist started pouring out of the book, and then we kind of all
Ooh.
got swept up into Ravenloft, and then the GMs switched for that game. So none of us
That's
were
fun.
necessarily designed for Ravenloft per se.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I definitely think like you could have anything, but I don't think I was prepared for what the world was going to be like. But
Yeah. What kind of character were you
um,
playing in Crystal Strat?
I think she was a sorcerer. She's like a runaway bride.
Yeah.
That she kind of disappeared into. But yeah, I don't know. She doesn't like quite fit, and I was like, I don't know, like what she would necessarily do. But I think that was just on me. I would like to try it again, definitely at some point.
I feel like Curse of Strahd, the thing that you're really trying to do is leave. Like that's all anyone
Yeah,
wants to do is leave.
for sure. That was the goal. I was like, I don't want to be here. Like my character was like,
We have like yeah, for that game we've got a doc with a list of things to do, and at the top of it
yeah.
is leave Ravenloft.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, above all everything else.
Yeah, it's like and we're actually started crossing things off, which feels kind of nice. So
Nice.
soon
Success.
soon we're heading into Castle Ravenloft to see if we can't make this happen. With that group,
Ooh.
we always come with these like complex plans that don't last very long.
Yeah. That's easily done. A few steps in and you're like, not quite sure this is going the way we thought it
Yeah,
would. A couple of
we
natural ones and suddenly things aren't quite so in control.
so do you have like a style play you prefer?
What do you mean? Like,
Like I guess like mysteries, investigation, hack and slash,
okay. Um,
epic fantasy.
I like it like anything really. Like I love some fighting, but I love like a good chance some role play and chatting to NPCs. Yeah, I think it's like nice to have a bit of kind of if you have like a massive fight one session to maybe like do something a little different and kind of like investigative or like mystery the next. So
So a
like I like
mix.
mixing it up. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like anything really.
Um, what kind of tones do you like as far as like telling stories from the GM side of things?
Like when I'm telling it,
Yeah.
I'm so bad in that I think I'm just so predictable that I'm like, I want to do like some kind of Studio Ghibli world that I'm like,
Yeah.
I should probably try and lean more into like Lord of the Rings style things. I think I try and go like way too complicated because I'm like, I've built this whole world that's so different from anything anyone's heard of before. And I'm like, this is too crazy. Like, you know, frog villages and like bathhouses run by cats. That kind of, those are my kind of vibe. Finding
Frog.
magical flowers for tea.
We just shot a video about D&D and frogs the other day,
Oh, I love frogs. That's really
and
fun.
there is a lot of frog monsters in D&D. Is what we've
Yeah.
determined. And you mentioned getting having Candle Keep, which there's another frog monster in there as well.
That is, I literally got the book today, opened a couple of pages while I was at work and was like, probably shouldn't look yet. So I have like no idea. I just saw a couple of pictures and was like, I'm going in blind. I'm excited.
It's there's a Gripply warrior in there, and I mean we had Gripplies in previous editions, but so another frog person in case we didn't have enough with grungs and
That's fun.
bullywugs. So now you can populate your frog village with bullywugs, grungs, and Gripply.
Perfect. I will.
I find the concept of a cat bathhouse kind of amusing because whenever someone plays a tabaxi in any of my games, they always have a phobia of water.
Yeah, that's so fair. That's very cat-like, but I guess I was going like cats like cleaning.
Yeah,
They probably don't get in the baths themselves, but they'll help you into them. They know what a nice bath is like, but not for them.
one of the campaigns that I ran, one of the central focuses around that campaign was building a bathhouse.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, like so that group of adventurers, like when they would go out adventuring and they would come back to town, and the first thing they would always want to do is get a hot bath, especially the barbarian. The barbarian's
So
like, I'm so
nice.
full of rage, I need a bath. Um, was a common saying, and so they would go back, and then they decided, well, we should just build our own bathhouse.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Having all these bars, yeah.
and,
Save on money, save on water.
and then a couple of them had one of the characters was mostly a rogue. Another one of the characters had some rogue levels. So an important thing for them was to make sure there was dirty limericks throughout the bathhouse written in thieves' cant. So
Perfect. What every bathhouse should have.
yeah. Which led to some adventures too, because they hired a gnome inventor to help them heat the water in the bathhouse.
Hey, that's cool.
So he kind of like installed a nexus to the elemental plane of fire,
Amazing.
which caused some problems in the future for them. So some of the adventures were like based around, okay, how do we not have the bathhouse burn down?
Oh, that's so fun. I love that.
Well, I just like trying to take what my players throw out there and be like, all right, how can we make this an adventure?
Yeah, that's nice. Like combining it so it feels all real and stuff.
So do you have like a homebrew world that you use the same world all the time, or is it different depending on the game?
It's different. It would make more sense if I just stuck to something, but then I get a new idea. Like I read a book or something and I'm like, oh, I want to do it in like this world and start
Yeah.
creating it. And then like, wait, make so much more work for myself than I should, and then end up like getting overwhelmed. I mean, like, oh no, this is too much. So not at the moment, but I've started on like a little Humblewood world, which I'm excited to like put more into.
So are you gonna just run it straight out of the book, or are you gonna kind of do like more of your own spin and a Humblewood inspired?
I'm going to start the first adventure. I think it does like from levels 1 to 5. So I'm going to start
Yeah.
with that and see how it goes, and then kind of like build off it. Because I think for me, the hardest part is always like the first quest they do. Because I'm like, how do
Yeah.
I get them all in one place where they all feel motivated to do this one thing? So I'm like, if I can just start them off and then I'll get inspired and I'll like see some cool pictures and get some NPCs and be like, oh, they could do this and this as well. So yeah,
So
start. Um,
I will tell you something that took me a very long time to learn.
uh,
You don't have to do that. You can let them tell you why they're together.
yeah, that is so something. I think that's something I realized in the last thing I did, like the last campaign. I was like,
Yeah.
why don't I just be like, you're going to be in this cafe. Why are you in this cafe? You want to
Yeah.
do this. Tell me why.
Yeah, and a step further for that is to just have them know each other and
Yeah.
how and like I found like one of the best session zeros we did that Ted ran was when we all had to come up with like why we were all adventuring together, how we knew each other, which then kind of led to like the big bad villain for that campaign.
Yeah.
And then like he didn't have to really do a lot. He just had to keep using that villain. And then
Yeah.
we would just we were like monkeys like jumping through hoops. It's like we already hated that guy because we kind of made him up.
Oh, that's so perfect. That's such a good idea. That must be really fun. Like, yeah, I've never done one where I like know multiple people when I start. I've like known like vaguely known a few other players, like our characters,
Okay.
but that must be really fun to like, yeah,
Well,
know each other.
20 years of going, okay, I'm the dungeon master, so I have to get these 11 players together who don't know each other. Everyone just shows up with their random character.
Yep.
Uh, and then you fit in like, either DM in those games or playing in those games. And like, maybe you have players like sitting around waiting for their characters to be introduced.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight is like a nightmare, or like it's so much harder for a GM to try and figure out how to make that happen instead of going, wait a minute, if they actually just start off knowing each other, it will be
That's
so much easier. And a lot of stories kind of like do that already, right? Like
yeah.
if like look at Lord of the Rings, right? There's no reason why if you weren't DMing that game, you couldn't start after the Fellowship formed, as opposed to
Yeah,
be like, let me
exactly.
get everyone together and get them agree to do the thing.
Even with that, at least like Gandalf and Frodo already know each other. Like, it's
Yeah.
already starting. Like a few of them at least are already friends and have a relationship, rather than like being like, why do I want to work with this random wizard that shows up and lets fireworks off all the time? Like, no, you already know each other. You're friends.
So I feel like it just takes a lot of pressure off me as a GM,
Yeah.
and also like I think it helps the players too, right? Because they're like they don't have to figure out what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they like already know their purpose and like can kind of push forward on that. Yeah,
And
good hope.
Dragonlance in the original Dragonlance trilogy, which is, I don't know if you've read it. It's a little bit before your
I'm reading
time.
it at the moment. I just started,
Uh,
which I'm really excited.
oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yesterday we had Douglas Niles on, who has written a bunch of Dragonlance novels,
Oh, that's so
which was
cool.
super cool. Like they came on to talk about a Kickstarter, but we didn't really talk about that much. I just wanted me
Tell
and
me more
actually
about
the other
Dragonlance.
writer from that like Kickstarter just spent most of the time just fanboying. Um,
That's so fair.
yeah, but like he's written a bunch of them. But even like so, if you've started reading it, then you already know
Mhm.
like all the companions are already friends.
Yeah, literally, I was like, this is such a good start. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
yeah, they all come back after 5 years and they're all friends. And I was like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah. So when you start your next game, just have them all be friends and know each other or something.
I'm absolutely doing that.
And then like for me, like I don't know if you run session zeros or not. Um,
I haven't. I think I'm realizing maybe it's quite a good idea. We ran one. I'm as a player and the campaign was starting tomorrow, but we ran one because other people hadn't played D&D much before, and that was
yeah.
actually quite nice. Like, making sure we're all on the same page and like our characters all kind of want to work together and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, and then like as a GM, like you just spend like that session, maybe asking a couple questions and having the players talk amongst themselves. But for me, it's just like taking notes.
yeah.
You
How can I
know,
use this all against you?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it makes it so much easier when you go into your campaign because then it's like a lot of
yeah. It's nice.
times,
Like,
a lot of
sorry.
times we like get comments and questions is like, my players don't take my hooks. It's because they're
Yeah.
your hooks. If you give them theirs back to them, then it's like chomping at the bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like people love talking about themselves. Like let them play about themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's
so good.
as a DM, it's so much easier to listen than it is to talk. Like my favorite thing is when they just go off for
Yeah.
20, 30 minutes at a time, and I haven't done anything.
Just sit back and you're like, great, glad you guys are having fun. I'm
Yeah,
not doing anything.
that's exactly what it feels like to be a proud parent when you have those moments.
Yeah, like, oh, you guys are doing it on your own.
Yeah, for
That's nice.
sure. Um, so how many players in your upcoming Humblewood game?
At the moment, only two. I'm kind of see like who's free and who would be up for it. But yeah, I kind of need to work on that. So it's me as the DM, my partner, and then our friend who's in like literally all of our D&D campaigns because she's
Yeah.
always just up for whatever, which is nice. Yeah. So I need to find some
So
more people.
so you had mentioned that you find yourself playing more D&D now because you're obviously playing online makes it a bit easier to kind of like connect with people. Um,
Yeah.
do you feel like that's because more people are just more available now?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I could have got people committing to like a weeknight every single week because that
Yeah.
like people are like, oh, I might do this on this night, like I might go out, like I used to go
Yeah.
to a board game cafe like a couple of times a week or like things like that. I'll go to the park and like play football or something like when it's nice, whereas now I'm like, well, I'm kind of probably just going to be in my house anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. Like I have sessions where we play every single week, which like is the commitment. It's amazing.
I know that's going to be the biggest letdown at the end of this year or
Yeah.
next year. We'll be longing in some ways. We might find ourselves longing for the end times again.
Yeah, when everyone is free and wants to play D&D again.
You're like, how did you get your most committed D&D group? Well, there was this plague that happened, and then all of a
It was
sudden,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the tip. That's how you need to do it.
yeah, that's what it took. Sigh. It's so hard. So you were generally in person player beforehand.
Yeah. Usually I played with people in person. Like I had like managed to find like a few people that were into it that were my friends, which was really, really lucky. Yeah, but then
So
haven't played.
does your group prefer maps and minis or theater of the mind?
It was Theatre of the Mind, but since the pandemic, we've got so many minis and like so many things that we're so excited to use.
Yeah.
So in person, I'm going to be excited to use that again, but online, mainly just theater of the mind. Like we don't use Roll20 that much because our internet is terrible. Hence why I'm in my office today because I have nice internet. So yeah, we usually just on Discord, just chatting. But I have many minis, and I'm looking forward to using them.
Yeah. Well, used to be our in-person games. Ted had got really into crafting a lot and putting out
Oh,
terrain
that's
and
cool.
scatter. Um, and then we
I
went.
even
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go on. I was like, I even got a 3D printer. So I'm
Oh,
like
nice.
ready to go crazy with it. Haven't managed to get it fully up and working yet, but one day I'm gonna have like all of the stuff.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we went virtual, he's like, crap, I've got all this stuff I'm making and no way to use it. So he ended up setting up a separate webcam
Oh,
uh
that's a good idea.
from a different laptop. So it just like zooms that in and out when there's different scenes.
That's such a good idea. Yeah, because like obviously the thing that is always really hard is like trying to visualize a big fight when there's like loads of people and loads of monsters and being like, where am I? And like I do love some little squares to count my way over. That's a
The
good
only
idea.
problem is we have to stop ourselves from pointing at the screen to be like, move me here.
Meet me there. Just
I'm
there.
like, you have no idea where I'm pointing. So,
No.
but it's kind of cool because you can also set up like different scenes and just move the camera.
Oh yeah, just like move it one by one. That's so fun.
Yeah. So, because like we usually do like theater of the mind, and then like you said, when a complex
Mm,
scene happens, then break out the terrain or whatever, so that we can kind of see what's going on, make it
yeah, that's
easier.
nice.
Do you enjoy painting minis?
I do. I've just got into it literally like this Christmas. I started painting like one D&D mini, and then the next day I went out and bought like 4 packs of Warhammer.
Uh
Like I'm just I have like so much paint and so much Warhammer and things now. So yeah, very much enjoying it. It's really, really fun.
Yeah. So Ted is our resident mini painter. Me, not
Nice.
so much. I honestly I think it was like I guess it was like 3 years ago. Whenever I went to 3 years ago or so, I went to Origins, and I was invited to do like a paint and take as one of the guests. And that was like the first time I ever painted a mini. Left to my own devices, I like for like the Warhammer games and stuff. Left if you
Mm,
had to have painted minis, I would be like, can I just dunk them or spray paint
yeah.
them?
You're going to be all one color, dip you in.
Yeah, I know some people really
So,
really enjoy it and find it like kind of therapeutic.
yeah,
I've never enjoyed like that fine detail work.
that's so fair. I didn't think I would because I'm like really not very like detail orientated. Like
Yeah.
I can't color inside the lines like still as an adult. Like I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like messy.
Yeah.
But paint is really forgiving because you can just sit there and like paint over the same thing that you've messed up for like 4 hours. And somehow I enjoy that. I'm not quite sure how, but yeah, I'll just happily sit there, like 4 hours just painting over the same little piece.
So I would think as a professional writer, you would be more like detail oriented and precise.
Yeah, like in my mind I am, but like physically I
Oh,
can't like my
yeah.
you know my old witch hands can't quite like put stuff together.
I totally feel you there. Yeah. So your
Yeah.
brain and your hands getting them on the same page aren't quite the.
Something goes wrong between
Yeah.
like here and here, like they don't quite match
Yeah.
up.
Well, I was watching a video by Jeremy from Black Magic Craft, and he was talking about like he has problems with his hands shaking, which I was really
Oh
surprised
yeah.
to hear that because like he's got a whole YouTube channel about making and crafting stuff and painting.
Amazing, yeah.
So I guess it
Gotta
is a bigger problem.
just
Uh,
gotta work
my
around.
my greatest joy is when in third edition when they started coming out with the pre-painted minis. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is so good. And
God.
also, I don't know, if you've used Hero Forge?
Yes, yeah, I love Hero Forge. Now they got like the pre-colored ones.
Yes.
So cool.
and
Yeah.
the coloring is so good. Like
Yeah.
they when they were doing the Kickstarter, they had sent Ted a one of the minis, and he didn't know that it wasn't painted. Like that's like how good it is.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually got one and it's great. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
So that's like perfect for people like me who are not into
Yeah. So
painting.
you can still do like all the creativity and design and but don't have to
And then
worry
just
about
click some
painting.
buttons.
Yes. And they will do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So do you play other games that aren't D&D?
Yeah, I played quite a bit of Call of Cthulhu, which I absolutely love, like getting to be kind of like a 1920s person and it
Yeah.
being like terrifying is yeah, really, really fun. RDM is really good at horror to the point one of my friends literally screamed so loudly for like 30 seconds straight, and we were all like, calm down, like it's not real. But we turn all the lights off and light loads of candles and like all get round, and it's like it's really, really fun.
Oh
Love
yeah.
that.
If you like that kind of vibe, have you heard of 10 Candles?
I haven't, no.
So 10 candles based on you play with actual candles, and there's 10 of them, and there's like a dice pool that starts with 10 dice.
Okay.
So like, after something dramatic happens in a scene, you lose one of the candles and the dice goes to the DM.
Oh,
And
interesting.
then like, so as your dice pool shrinks, the DM's dice pool grows and they roll against you. So like when you get successes and they get successes, your successes get canceled out. So inevitably the DM will end up with more dice than you to try and cancel what you're doing. And when the last candle goes out, everyone dies. Like that. Like that's the
Oh my
premise of the
god,
game.
that's
Like
cool.
I guess it's more like a horror game where you run through the game,
Yeah.
and when you get to the end, like like your character is going to die. It's just a matter of like, can you have
Oh.
them die in a cool way or and
Yeah.
accomplish stuff up until that.
Oh, that sounds so cool. That's so dramatic, like actually having candles going out. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
and I think also like in the rules is like if a candle goes out by accident for some reason, like the candle's out.
No. That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
So if you have like very active people at the table, that can be a problem as well.
That's me. I love to flail my hands around,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So we did D&D in a castle, and one of the Elise Teg had run a game of that in one of the towers of the castle.
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have lots of castles over there.
We do. We do. Yeah, I would love to. They did like a Red Nose Day thing, which is like a charity thing where you can
Yeah.
like win like a D&D game in a castle and you get to do like jousting. I'm not quite sure if you actually do it on a horse because I feel like that's quite not safe, but you get to do like falconry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just like hoping I win that and then I could play D&D in a castle. But yeah, would love to one day.
Yeah. Well, so eventually when things open back up, there's a company that just kind of does that. They've done it twice now.
That's
It did one.
cool.
They did it the first time they did it in France, and
Oh,
then
France, nice.
they did it in Langley and Lumley, and I think Langley's where it's going to be again because they have more space there.
Nice. That's so
And that was I mean that was a lot of fun. Like
cool. I bet.
like Lumley was like more castle-y from the outside, and then I think
Mm.
and then Langley was like more castle-y on the inside.
Okay, yeah.
Because like one of them was like basically like a big square like tower,
Oh, that's
uh,
cool.
like a fort, and the other one was a little more
Mm.
sprawling.
Yeah.
So like they had like totally different feels to them. And we were supposed to be doing it again last year,
Mm.
but the world ended.
Nothing happened last year.
Yeah, we're just gonna like when the historians look back, the calendar's just gonna
So
skip.
empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think their plan is to keep doing it in England. So
That's yeah, I can imagine. Like, yeah, I would definitely love to sign up for something like that one day. And D&D is getting like more and more popular. I can imagine lots of people would be up for that.
yeah, well, it's like 3 days of D&D. It's like you play in the morning. Well,
Amazing.
you do 2 sessions a day, two
Mm.
like 4-hour sessions for 3 days,
Oh,
and we
that's
were
crazy.
supposed to our castle was supposed to be Caver's Wall, and it's
Okay.
like one of the few castles that still has a moat, I guess.
Ooh.
But the day before, when we're like doing the last minute travel plans and stuff,
Mm.
our point person was like, everything's great, everything's fine. I don't want you to be alarmed. You're going to a castle. It's just going to be a different castle. Like
Oh.
2 weeks before the event, the
Okay.
castle got seized by the bank.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they had to find
Ooh.
another castle. Uh,
That's bad timing. And oh wow.
yes, yeah. Don't worry about don't worry about Saxons and Vikings seizing your castle. Apparently, bankers.
The bank.
That's where the real danger lies.
Yeah.
So that was definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you should, yeah, if you get a chance, it's definitely worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, I
It's
really
a
want to.
nice vacation.
Yeah, one of the groups I play with online, we've never actually met in person, like met over Discord. So we really want to
Yeah.
do like a Airbnb weekend. So I'm like, maybe we should just go to a castle, like go all out, like do our D&D somewhere like dramatic and fun for like
Oh, that would be
our
cool.
first in-person session. Yeah.
And it would be totally the opposite experience of what you're used to, because let me tell you, the Wi-Fi in a castle is not very good.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be intense, like no Wi-Fi to distract you.
Especially because we use D&D Beyond a lot too, so it's like
Uh,
this is problematic.
yeah, just all just
The first time in France, I was in France as a player, and I would have to like run outside with my phone to get some Wi-Fi and like refresh my character and then go back inside.
Oh no, that's so annoying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
France is like big and spread out, a lot of countryside and
but
not great Wi-Fi.
both of it was kind of cool because like like some of the games that were running, the GMs would like almost like turn them into like LARPs,
Oh, that's
where
fun.
which where you'd like go to certain parts of the castle for certain scenes.
Ooh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, if especially when things kind of matched up with the game, like
Mm.
like I know for us, like there was a chapel in part of the adventure, so we went to the chapel in the castle. And
That's so cool. Yeah, I feel like you want to run something that feels like relevant to a castle.
yeah, and then the second time around, when it was actually our castle and we were running the games, um like each session or each day you would change rooms, so it kind of give you like a little bit of a different
Ooh.
experience in the castle.
That's really cool.
And then we each had a table of 6 players, and we were kind of running like the same storyline.
Mm.
And the idea was at the end they would all confront the big bad together. And so
Oh,
we
that's
brought
great.
together like three tables. So we had like three
Um,
DMs running it and 17 players.
wow.
And like so we had it in the hall. So like they set up a bunch of tables in a big like U or horseshoe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I could not believe how smoothly that went, considering
Really? Just all like matched up.
when you think about like 17 people and for a single round of combat. But,
Yeah.
and then after they defeated the big bad, then we like broke up back to our tables and let them kind of do like their epilogues.
Nice.
So
Oh,
that
that
was,
sounds like epic. That's amazing.
yeah, it's definitely one of my top D&D experiences for sure.
Oh, nice. And in a castle. Amazing.
Yes, and in the castle, yeah. And like they would do like other things as part of the experience. Like there was like at the very beginning, like they would like rent out a tavern. So like
Oh,
everyone
that's
meets in a tavern for the
cool.
first time.
That's so fun.
And then there's like certain events during it, and then they had like at the end they had what they just called Castle Day, where it wasn't any gaming, but they
Mm.
brought in people to like roast a pig, and there was like skeet shooting and shooting crossbows, and
Oh, that's
uh,
so fun.
a falconer. They had the falconer come in and do like a
Dream.
demonstration. So
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
yeah, and then had to go back to regular life.
To real life.
Real life,
Mm.
yeah, no castles.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. And we're from New Jersey here in the States, and there are not a lot of castles in New Jersey, I can tell you.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Um, although I do think there's one not too far away in Ohio.
Okay.
Because we had done a convention there, and someone's like, there's a castle there. So maybe we'll be able to like recreate a local experience.
Yeah,
So,
search one out.
yeah. Well, you had
Mm.
mentioned getting together with your online group to do like a bed and breakfast type thing.
Mm.
I know there's one in this, at least one in the States that is D&D themed,
Oh, that's cool.
where you can set up like a D&D night or weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there probably like might be. Like we can't be the first people that have wanted to do this. So
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
guess it's kind of cool too, because like they'll supply the GM.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
That's
like
fun.
that might be kind of cool. So like everyone gets to play together, kind of.
Yeah, that's really nice.
For
Takes
sure.
pressure off RGM for like having a whole weekend of like stuff planned as well. That could be
Yeah.
cool.
If they got it here, I imagine they had. You could probably find something like
Yeah,
that in the
probably.
UK as well.
I'll search it out.
Yeah.
Find one.
Um. So, you said you're starting a new campaign that someone else is running tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. Same DM as one of my other ones I do on my Wednesday night. Yeah, starting that tomorrow, which is going to be fun. Not quite sure what the world is going to be. I'm just
Yeah.
turning up for some homebrew fantasy. Be good.
Do you know what you're playing?
Yes, I'm playing I think it's a Fey Wanderer Ranger, which will be fun. So that's quite new to me.
Oh, we've got a Fey Wanderer in our Curse of Strahd game.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, they seem pretty effective.
Nice. I haven't played a ranger before either, so I'm looking forward to it.
So was it hard to choose between that and say like a Beastmaster? Because I know you said you like pets.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I always like if I'm ever a ranger, I'll obviously just be a beastmaster. But then I absolutely love Fae. Like campaigns I ever ran was like a one shot in like the Fae Wild because I was just like looking through the monster manual and I was like, ooh, fairies. Yes, I'm very interested. Yeah, so I was like, I actually really love that idea. And one of our characters is a half elf barbarian and she's from the Feywild, so like we kind of like know each other beforehand because she came through a portal to where like I live, and it's like this crumbling building that no one thought actually led to the Feywild, but apparently it still does. So
Have you checked out the new Unearthed Arcana?
yes, yeah, with actual fairy.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that kind of stuff sounds really, really cool. Yeah, I hope they come out with like a Feywild book. That'd be good.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite of the four new races they introduced?
Oh, rabbit folk is obviously like adorable, and I was like, I do love that. Wish I was a rabbit. But I think I really like fairy. I think that's really cool. I love like the table. I love rolling on a table. Table is like
Yeah.
my absolute favorite thing in the world. So it's like if it's a random table, like can smell like brownies. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love
I thought the
that.
one that was weird was their hands are always clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, would people notice that? Like, I guess
Yeah.
if it's like
If you
medievally
dip them in mud,
fantasy.
maybe.
Yeah, the mud's still clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, we actually that video drops today where we kind of talk about that and give our
nice.
thoughts on it when basically when this wraps up. That'll be
Nice.
going live.
Did you guys have like a favorite that? you're interested in?
I'm kind of. I don't know if I have a favorite. The idea of playing the rabbit folk or the fairies appealing. I
Mm.
like what they did mechanically with the hobgoblin in
Okay,
there.
yeah.
It also makes me like all the unearthed arcana are kind of like leading up to products. So it just makes me wonder what the product is that this
Mm.
is going to be in.
Yeah, get excited, start speculating.
Yeah,
Always
like
fun.
obviously Gothic Lineages has to do with the Ravenloft book that's coming out.
Yeah, that's gonna
Um,
be good.
so I wonder if are they doing a Feywild book? Why are they
Yeah.
reintroducing the Hobgoblin as a
Yeah.
Feywild race? Because I don't know. I think in all my years of playing D&D, I don't remember D&D goblins ever being associated with the Feywild.
Yeah, no, I don't know as much, but yeah, nothing that I've come across. It's
So
interesting.
so I'm curious to see what where they're going with that and what that take's going to be like.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
And
Feywild
also
books
though
are
with the
so
rabbit folk, we're like, how many rabbit folk samurai are there going to be now?
good. Yes.
I
So
don't know.
many.
I don't know if people are still familiar with Usagi Jimbo from Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's going back a little ways, and I'm dating myself.
Only vaguely familiar, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't born yet, so there's that.
Sorry. I
I
can't
don't
know
think
it
that's
all.
something you need to apologize for. We just happen to be old. Um, so what drew you to the Fey Wanderer, and what race are you playing?
What race am I playing? Elf, wood elf. I'm playing. I haven't played a elf in ages, so it's gonna be fun. Yeah, just like interested in Fae. And everyone else in our group is kind of new to D&D, so I was like, I want to let them pick their race and class first, because I was like, I'll just fit in with whatever like
Yeah.
goes with whatever they've done. But then we had like a barbarian, a sorcerer, a cleric, and quite a lot of other stuff that I was like, well, we've got a cleric and stuff. I can kind of be whoever. So I was like, I'll try something different. I'll be a ranger because I've never done that.
Yeah, Rangers are good for kind of like fitting in and doing whatever, like you said. I mean, they can do a
Yeah.
lot of damage and they have utility to
Yeah.
them
And
as
then we don't have
well.
anyone sneaky. So I was like, oh, I'll kind of maybe do like a bit of stealth and stuff like that.
Are you playing the Ranger out of the PHB, or are you using the optional rules from Tasha's?
Using the optional from Tasha's. Yeah. So could pick and choose like what I want to be good at.
Yeah, I like the those options because it gives you more opportunities to focus on skills and languages.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is nice.
It makes them
Mm.
almost as much of a skill monkey as the rogue.
Yeah. Which is ideal.
Yeah. So where did you guys find new players from?
These people that I've been friends with for ages, but we haven't seen each other in person in ages. And we kept saying like, "Oh, we should play D&D like when we hang out again." And we played D&D with them like a couple of times in person. But we had one friend who was like, "I've never played D&D before. I really want to do it." And we're like, "Okay, like let's match these two together, like the one new
Yeah.
player and the other two kind of like slightly newish players." Yeah, so already knew them all before, which is nice.
Okay, so you managed to rope some of your friends in
Yeah,
due
I
to the
find some.
due to the pandemic, basically.
Yeah, the last few friends that aren't playing D&D,
It's all
claw them
right.
into it.
You get them hooked, and then
Yeah,
then they'll be in for life.
yeah.
So
Good.
you had mentioned earlier about doing videos for and streaming video games as part of your job.
Mm.
Uh, what do you have coming up in the near future?
Like on the channel, what have we got coming up? We haven't got anything like crazy planned at the moment. We kind of just do like 3 videos a week that's kind of
Mm,
like all just about different games. It's nothing like big and crazy. We've got a video coming out this weekend on best female protagonists in games for International Women's History Month, which was fun because I just got to chat about like people that I loved, which was good.
Oh, nice. So, did you get to do the picking?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I will pick the ladies, so it
Yeah.
was
Was
fun.
that difficult?
Yeah, like it was honestly difficult to narrow it down. We did it just on PC, so that helped. So I was like, not
Yeah.
doing anything on console because we just do PC gaming on the channel. But even still, I was like, I didn't put any kind of like indies in, which was hard because I was like, there's loads of great indies. So I was like, I want to stick to like well-known characters and stuff. Like, so it was hard.
Who are some of your favorites that didn't make the cut?
Who did I want to put in? I was gonna put Madeline from Celestin, mainly because we have the same name. Um, but yeah, she's really cool. I think like she goes on like a big emotional journey, and I just think like she's a really great protagonist, and like I really like her. Something else I wanted on. I don't know. It's all just like drops out of my mind as soon as I'm not working on it. I'm like, goodbye,
It's
gone.
done.
Yeah.
You guys do a lot of lists.
Yeah, we do like a lot of list features. That's like mainly what we do, especially because we can't be in the studio at the moment as much. So
Yeah.
trying to do the kind of like in-depth kind of to camera like video essays we used to do quite a lot of. It's harder, but yeah, I did one on like the evolution of indie games recently, which was really really fun. So that was like a nice like research heavy one, which was good.
So has the pandemic forced you to kind of evolve and learn a lot more videography skills?
Not for me because I just like write and present it and then like hand it off and I'm like turn this into something nice. Like we have loads of video editors and stuff that work at the agency I work for, so I don't
But you
have
still
to
have to do the
do it.
filming, right?
I don't. Yeah, we have a cameraman and stuff. So
Oh, you don't have to worry about that.
I
Yeah.
literally just turn up and stand in front of the camera and I'm like, put a mic on me, like let's go.
Okay. I didn't
So
know
yeah.
if you had to like do it remotely now.
We haven't done much remotely. I feel
Uh,
like we were like talked about doing some stuff remotely, but we haven't actually ended up doing anything. Like we wanted to do some like Q&As about some product stuff, but we haven't like done that yet.
because I know, like for us, like we used to, show up in the studio, which was
Mm.
basically a Ted's place, which is like I have a green screen of the studio, and everything's kind of been like
Nice.
remote, since we've
Yeah.
been doing things virtual. Um, I can't wait till we can actually get back to sitting across from the table in person.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so nice like doing stuff in person.
yeah, well,
Miss it.
I've gotten my first vaccine shot. I'm just
Oh, nice.
so I guess I'm like 3 weeks away from the second one, and then I think you gotta wait like 2 weeks or whatever.
Amazing. Oh, that's
Yeah.
really like that's exciting. It's
So
happening, real life.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I see a light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting closer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. That's such a good place to be at.
Were you much of a con goer before?
I've only been like to a few things. I went to MCM Comic Con in London a couple of times, which was really, really fun. We had tickets to go in May of last year, which I was really, really excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cast a Critical Role were going, which my partner is like loves. So he was really, really excited to go meet them. But obviously it got cancelled. So I think hopefully next year I would love to go again. But yeah, I would love to do more. It'd be really, really fun.
Um, yeah, I mean I think that's been like one of the biggest hits for us and a lot of people is not being able to
Yeah.
go to conventions because I, it's a big part of where we get to like meet in person and hang out with our friends online.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so that's been
Fun.
a little rough, but yeah, maybe the end of this year we'll see something. I think I just saw Gen Con just got pushed
Right.
into September, so they're trying to give it some more time for things to open up a bit more.
Oh, hopefully that'll be so good.
Yeah, it would be. So, well, we are up on the hour mark. Final thoughts before we head out?
Ooh. Um, yeah, it's been fun. D&D is great. That's it.
Absolutely. Uh, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. There are links in the description. You can check Maddie out on Twitter as well as the Wizards of the Coast series that she did as well. And if you want more D&D content over on the main channel, we have a video dropping pretty much right now. So until next time, stay nerdy.